All right, let's get right into it. We're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful and maybe one of the most misunderstood systems in our world. Something that's working right under our noses every single day.
I'm talking about something you've probably already used today. But it's a bit like the air we breathe. It's everywhere, so we almost never stop to actually look at how it works.
And the reason we don't question it, it's not because it's some big secret or because it's super complicated. The reason is actually much, much simpler than that.
It's because it's just normal. And anything that's normal has a funny way of becoming completely invisible.
So let's start right there, with the normal view. What's the first thing that pops into your head when you think about why a bank exists? For most of us, it's a really simple idea.
A bank is a safe, right? A secure vault. It's where you put your paycheck, maybe try to build some savings, and just generally keep your money protected. And look, while that's true, it's not the whole story. To be honest, it's not even the main story.
So let's pop the hood and see what's really going on. Because underneath that quiet, safe deposit box surface, there's a massive, relentless engine. And you might be surprised to find out what it actually runs on.
Okay, here it is. This is the first really crucial piece of the puzzle. The primary business of a bank, its whole reason for being, is not to store your money.
They're built to move money. Your deposit doesn't just sit in a vault somewhere collecting dust. It becomes the raw material, the fuel that gets pumped out into the economy as debt. Think mortgages, car loans, student loans. It's a system of flow, not a system of storage.
And this right here, this is the business model in 4 easy steps. Your money goes into the system. The bank lends that money out. Every single one of those loans generates interest. And that interest, that isn't just a little bonus for the bank. That is the business. It's their main source of income.
This really flips the whole script on what we think we know. The common myth is that banks make money when you save, but the reality is, the system is designed to profit most when people borrow. The more debt that gets created, the more interest gets paid, and the more powerful that engine runs.
So, if the whole system profits from borrowing, what kind of world does that end up creating? Well, it creates a world where taking on debt doesn't feel like a bad decision. It feels necessary. It even feels like progress.
Just think about the major milestones of a good life. Buying a house? That's a mortgage. Getting a new car? Probably financing. A college degree? For millions of people, that means student debt for decades. The system makes it all so easy, so frictionless, with things like buy now, pay later and pre-approved loans just waiting for you.
This quote just nails it perfectly. The whole structure is so deeply woven into our culture that we stop seeing it as a financial transaction, as debt. We just see it as the normal, expected way to live your life.
So let's talk about the consequences of living inside this system. Because this constant churning of money through loans, it creates a hidden pressure, a kind of loop that I think a lot of people feel, even if they can't quite put a name to it. It creates something called structural inflation. A simple way to think of it is, every time a new loan is created, new money is essentially pumped into the economy. So you have more money chasing the same amount of stuff, which means each dollar is worth a little bit less. That's why prices for everything, from gas to groceries, seem to always creep up. It's not a mistake, it's a feature of the system, not a bug.
And that inflation is what feeds this dependency loop. Your paycheck might feel like it's staying the same, but the cost of living is always going up. So what fills that gap? For so many of us, it's credit. And over time, using credit to bridge that gap stops feeling like an emergency plan and just becomes normal.
And this is a hard truth, but it's an important one. The system isn't designed to be fair. It's designed to be predictable. The money flows where the risk is the lowest, to people who already have stable jobs, good credit, a solid track record. It's a self-reinforcing loop. The system rewards people who have already figured out how to play by its rules, not necessarily the people who might need the help the most.
Now, hearing all of this can feel a little overwhelming. I get it, but understanding this is actually the first step toward empowerment. The goal isn't to fight the system, it's to understand it, to go from being dependent on it to having a strategy for it.
The real solution isn't as simple as just earning more money, because a bigger income often just means you qualify for bigger loans and you're stuck in the same loop. The key is to see the structure for what it is. It's about consciously trying to stop using credit as a survival tool, about taking control of your cash flow instead of just reacting to bills, and about building a financial cushion for yourself so you have choices that don't involve more borrowing.
And once you really see this, it's like a light bulb clicks on. money stops feeling like this chaotic emotional force in your life. You start to see it for what it is, a system with rules and predictable outcomes. It becomes a game that you can actually learn to play.
And that really brings us to the final and most important question. Now that you can see the hidden engine, now that you understand the rules of the system, how are you going to play the game?